Hello, and welcome to the inaugural podcast of our new channel, Doctor 2.0, where it's our mission to introduce to people just like you cutting-edge physicians, philosophies, and findings helping a person become better, stronger, faster, as we explore together the fusion of time-tested Primal Health strategies with that of rational, safe, and effective medical technology. Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Carter, one of the providers here at Revolution Medical, a premier integrative medicine facility located in the heart of Winter Park, Florida. Today, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce to you my good friend, mentor, and colleague, Dr. Raj Sharma. Dr. Sharma is a medical doctor. He is dual board certified in internal medicine as well as gastroenterology. Raj received his graduate degree from the prestigious Loma Linda University in Loma Linda, California, which, by the way, is also a blue zone. Blue zones are those areas in the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives, and we will be talking more about those and other strategies as we share these podcasts. Raj completed his gastroenterology and liver disease fellowship at the prestigious University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. While abroad, Raj has invested a great deal of time and energy into local communities, aiding victims of debilitating disease like leprosy. He even worked in the International Red Cross. If that wasn't enough, he's a published author of an incredible book entitled The Pursuit of Gut Happiness, a guide for using probiotics to achieve optimal health, and he's contributed to articles to such prestigious publications like the Journal of Gastroenterology. Dr. Raj is unique in that not only does he have a prolific, impressive medical background, Raj also has an intimate knowledge and understanding of holistic medicine in general, and most especially in the area of probiotics and the microbiome. Together, we will bring you those experts at the top of their game, answering all your questions in those medical health and wellness arenas you are most interested in. Dr. Raj, please tell us a little bit about you. What inspired you to pursue medicine, and what was your thought process as you looked into holistic medicine in general and probiotics specifically? Raj?
Greg, thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be interviewed by yourself.
Likewise.
I'm so happy to be on this podcast today. You know, I come from a farming background. My father was a farmer, and then eventually he became a police officer. So I'm the only doctor in the family.
Congratulations.
And the decision to become a doctor was a very sudden one, was just very instantaneous. My family, my family used to live in a suburb of a big city, where I was best friends with a guy, and his father was a doctor. I always saw him get all this respect, and always saw him hugging the patients and being like a healer, giving people hope and giving them tools to take care of themselves, telling them that, you know what, it's okay, you will get better. And he was so well respected, and he was so honorable. Just looking at him doing his job in such a majestic, in such an honorable way, and getting their respect and giving people the ray of hope, which they would not have otherwise had, kind of made me think and decide that, you know what, maybe I should become a doctor. Maybe I should adorn that white coat this gentleman has and follow his footsteps. So that moment, and that was I was about 12 years old at that time, 12 years old. That moment still stands in my memory. I still remember I know exactly where I was standing and making that decision. Was almost like the decision was made for me. I didn't make the decision myself. And my family, being a farm-based family, we believe in healthy eating and healthy cooking. My father is so stubborn. He's so picky with his food. If he cooked the food the wrong way, put the wrong ingredients, if you put too much oil, if you do not use the healthy stuff, you want to eat it. So I would say, my father is my mentor. He's the guy that told me to eat the proper things, eat the clean things. And I remember very discreetly, my father used to take me to school. And when we came back from school, on my way back home, he used to stop by at this shop. And he used to buy me almond milk. I remember that. Every day, coming back from school, he bought me almond milk. No Coca-Cola, no Pepsi, nothing. Almond milk. And that has become a habit now. So every year, every 2 years when I go to India, I go to the same shop every year. Because not only I relive the memories of my father,
of course,
but the lessons are learned at that moment, during those times, by healthy eating. So even now, I drink almond milk, and when I go to the shop, I make them pack me the ingredients, because they have pre-made almond milk, which I bring with me to America, and I will show that to you one day. The next time on the podcast, I'll show you what I have. I go there every 2 years or 1 year, and I have enough supply to last me 3 years, and I drink the same almond milk every week or every day if I could.
That's awesome. I look forward to that. I can't wait to taste some of that.
Oh, it's gonna be delicious, and it has a very secret. It has a secret ingredient. It's an herb. It's called Brahmi. Brahmi is an herb for the mind. It gives you a very focused mind. It's like Indian ginseng. It enhances the attention span. It's good for the memory. It's good for the skin. It makes you feel very happy. So every time I drink that Brahmi and that almond milk mixture together, my goodness, I am so relaxed and refreshed. No Coca-Cola, no beer, no alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I don't endorse alcohol, but nothing can match the refreshness that Brahmi and the almond milk brings. So that being said, my father has been my eating healthy coach, and he is also my mentor for healthy cooking. And he's the guy. He cooks. I mean, he's a busy guy, but he cooks, and he cooks very healthy. He cooks very healthy. So I would say he taught me the early lessons. You have to choose your food and ingredients very carefully and make the decisions.
Well, and I think that's very telling, and thank you for sharing such an intimate story about you, your father, and your childhood. I'd like to expand on that a little bit, Raj. Could you tell us, if I were to ask you, or if someone were to ask you, Raj, what would you say your core principles, your values as they relate to health, wellness, and medicine? What are those core things that you yourself most believe in? What would you say?
I believe that all diseases begin in the gut. Everything is the gut. That's it. It's all tied to the gut. It's what we eat. It's what we put in. And not only that, let me expand on that. It's your ecosystem. You are not alone. Man is a social animal, that we know that. But you as a living, breathing being is not alone. You have your surroundings. So your surroundings affect you as well. The lighting around you, the noise, the quality of the air, the food, the water, the flora, the bacteria around you, and the mood of the people around you. Everything affects you. So my core principle is that I look at man as a whole being, and that this wholeness is affected by what's around you. And then it all comes down to the gut. It's what you put into your GI system is what will create you, right? You are made of molecules. You are made of calcium for the bones. You have phosphate in your bones. You have amino acids and proteins and nitrogen. All these ingredients that enter your body through a GI system. So the more cleaner and the purer ingredients you put in the GI system, the cleaner and the purer you're gonna become.
That's great. The wholeness principle. Clear something up for me, Raj. It's my understanding, because I'm not a medical doctor, I'm in complementary alternative medicine, that the gut actually has more neurons. There's more neurons in the gut than there are actually in the brain housing group. Is that accurate, or is that a misnomer?
So the brain has a lot of neurotransmitters. There's neurotransmitters such as serotonin and acetylcholine and other neurotransmitters. So yes, there are more neurochemicals. There are neurochemicals in the brain. More neurochemicals in the gut than in the brain itself.
Okay. Let me ask you, Raj. What would you say is the role of ethnobotanical medicine, like spices, the utilization of Ayurvedic herbs, things like turmeric, shilajit, ashwagandha? What role do you see those playing in health, wellness, and medicine in the 21st century?
That's a very good question, Greg, and it's very close to my heart. Being Indian, we cook in spices, and we love our spices. At this time, I would like to backtrack and be pompous about this. That back in the day, we were famous for our spices. Vasco da Gama, when he came to India in 1498, he was looking for spices and gold, and that's why he came. He bought the spices from India. He went back to Portugal, and he sold those spices for about 50 times the profit.
Wow! And
ever since then, we have become world famous for spices. And our spices, they have a very sacred role in our lives as Indians. And as Indians, we not only cook in those spices, we also pray with those spices. Every time we have prayer ceremonies, we worship our gods in India. Every time we have prayer ceremonies, those spices are also offered as an offering to the gods, especially turmeric, which is also called haldi. So in India, turmeric is called haldi, and haldi is a big ingredient in our cooking and our lives. And I'm a big fan of haldi, Greg, a big fan of haldi. Everything we cook in haldi, period. Every Indian food we cook, every dish has turmeric in it, period. And turmeric not only gives a good flavor, it's very healing, very, very healing. Again, it brings me back. I keep going back to my childhood because that would make me nostalgic. But my parents were my teachers. That's how I learned everything about life, including eating healthy. Our kitchen had all the spices. We had turmeric, and we had enough supply of turmeric to last 2 years in case there was a flood. We had ginger, we had garlic, we had fennel, cardamom, and we have other many hundreds of spices which we use to cook Indian food. Now, turmeric has a big role in our diet, as you know, but turmeric also has a role as being being a medication. Not really medication, but used like a medication. It's not a medication; it's an herb. But turmeric is used to enhance wound healing. The turmeric is used as a painkiller, used as an antiseptic. For example, when I was a young child, I used to hurt myself all the time. She'd come back to mom, "Hey, mom, I scratched my knee again." Well, she used to mix turmeric with water and put the turmeric on my wounds. That's how we use it, as an antiseptic. Every time I had a cold, "Mom, I have a cold, I have a fever." Well, she used to put turmeric in milk, and I used to drink turmeric in milk. Now, as I got older, I was a teenager, so I had acne. "Mom, I have acne." Well, guess what? Mom used to put turmeric in water or in a little paste of gram flours, like cereal flour. I used to put that on my face. Turmeric is also useful to kill the bad bacteria on the skin and gives you good glow on the skin, and it's an antiseptic, so it kills all the bad flora. So it helps you get a beautiful glow on the skin. As a matter of fact, before any boy or girl in India they get married, we have a ceremony called it's pretty much called a haldi. It's like a haldi ceremony where we mix turmeric with rose water. They put that on the face, and we put the face, on the hands, the skin, the neck, pretty much every part of the body which is visible and reachable. Now they leave that on for a few hours, then we wash it off. Gives them a very soft baby-like skin. And turmeric also takes away any dirt in the skin, any the blemish, discoloration, dead skin particles all come off. Culture. Grew up in the culture. Seen that done thousands of times. Did that myself. So a lot of respect for turmeric in my household and in my life was still the same thing. I have not changed. I still cook. I'm a very mean cook when I cook. I do put turmeric in everything I do, and even now, if I catch a cough or cold, because in America, virus infections, upper respiratories are so common, you just cannot afford being sick all the time, and especially for a busy guy like myself, and we're all busy. I always make sure that I keep my body up and going, and my joints stay fluid, and my joints stay free from stiffness and discomfort. So I put turmeric in my milk and I drink it if ever I feel that I'm coming down with a cold, and that takes away my pain and discomfort. So that's turmeric. That's like the king of spices in our country. But another spice which we use quite a bit is ginger, and I respect ginger quite a bit. Ginger is very good for nausea, as you know. Ginger candy, right? For pregnant females, if they cannot take Zofran or Phenergan or some other medication for whatever reason, I always recommend ginger, and it works for people very well. Ginger is also good for cough and cold. It also breaks the mucus, and if you have a sore throat or again pain in your body anywhere, ginger is also good for pain and inflammation. It has shown to work. And in Indian culture, we use ginger all the time. My personal favorite is ginger tea. I make a special ginger tea, which I will make for you one day as well.
I look forward to it.
And staff as well. So when I come to Florida, we will all have a Dr. Raj ginger tea party, and I will make you. I'll make you the fresh, most organic, and most delicious ginger tea. Where I will bring my own ingredients for you. We'll put some fresh ginger in the tea. I'll put some cloves, some cardamom, some fennel, and we'll enjoy the cup of tea, looking at the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Florida sunset.
That sounds awesome, brother. If I'm a listener, and even myself, because turmeric being utilized for medicinal purposes is kind of new to me. So would you recommend that the layperson get it, the whole turmeric root, and incorporate it into their cooking? Should they get turmeric powder? I mean, for maintenance, to reduce pain and reduce inflammation, as an adjunct to a well-conceived, well-rounded anti-aging maintenance protocol, what kind of dose and administration and in what form would you recommend for that person? And in two different instances, one is maintenance and one in the presence of minor acute trauma or inflammation.
A very good question. So, Greg, this is a scenario where we have to really personalize and use our judgment on the situation we're dealing with. And this is where, MDs like myself, as well as complementary medicine physicians like yourself, will have to work together, and we have to assess, see what's good for a patient. If something is acute, where you have a broken arm and the pain is not going away, yes, you need medical treatment. Nothing will replace the acute medicine treatment. So I want to make it very clear that for acute issues, you got to make sure you talk to your doctor, go to urgent care, make sure there's no impending threat to your life and to your wellness.
Absolutely.
Now coming back to wellness is a mindset, it's a lifestyle, it's a maintenance. It's almost like getting service done on your car to make sure it runs smoothly for thousands of miles. Because hey, if you think about it, right, all of us are like cars. We run around like cars all day. We are no different than engines. So you have to make sure you maintain your system, and supply all the nutrients and ingredients that keep your machinery, your tissue, your cellular machinery running properly. For turmeric and for anything else, I'm a big fan of straight to the source, fresh roots. I love everything to be the freshest way possible. So for turmeric, if you can find the turmeric root, I recommend that. Now, word of caution, be careful. A lot of companies out there will try to sell you turmeric. Yourself and your family, they have to make a careful decision as to where is this stuff coming from. You need to know where is it coming from. Just because it's turmeric does not mean it's good for you straight away. You need to know what's in that packet, because in some countries, there is contamination of turmeric with lead. So you got to be careful with the sources. That's why buying your product from a good manufacturer, from a respected and a well-reputable institute or store is very important, because all these ingredients, they come from all over the world. You need to know the origin of these ingredients. I mean, when our listeners buy iPad, they know it's coming from China, right? I mean, whenever we buy something new, we track down the source, where it's coming from. But why not for turmeric and herbs? I encourage and I invite listeners and everybody who wants to live a healthy life to really pay attention to the quality. All turmeric, all powder, all spices are not made equal. You have to do your due diligence and find the source. Very important to do that, because if you are spending top dollar, you have to make sure that you're not buying something that's toxic to you. That's the biggest thing. Let's say you've done your due diligence and you have the best organic and the most cleanest product, then I encourage use of powder. If you can, the powder, that'd be best. I always use my turmeric in milk. It's more alkaline, because turmeric could give you heartburn. If you take too much of it, you'll get nauseous. It does have a pungent taste. When I was younger and I was experimenting with my turmeric, I sometimes used to, after exercise, strain my elbows. I used to try eat this turmeric powder raw. Do not do that. I really recommend that. No. You're gonna choke on it. You're gonna cough, and you'll be, coughing out this orange mist of turmeric. Put that in milk. Take it 3 times a day, 4 times a day, small doses. Maybe put some sugar in there to mask the taste. You can put some organic, some healthy brown sugar, and that tastes delicious. I have many ways, and as we go forward in future, we'll give you more recipes and more ways to consume turmeric. But my recommendation would be to use turmeric into the milk or some type of a solution which is alkaline. Do not recommend alcohol. Do not even think about putting turmeric in alcohol. You're defeating the purpose. Right. You have to go in something alkaline, and you have to respect the turmeric, and then you'll see the magic. It does work. I'm a living example of turmeric consumption. I used to have bad acne when I was younger. I put turmeric on my face for the longest time, and I'll give you more recipes as we go forward. You can put turmeric in multiple other things, apply it on your face and consume it, and you will have good results.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm genuinely curious about a couple of different things. One, if I do a rose water, perhaps for our listeners and viewers, at least on the YouTube component of this, we can put a recipe or put links in for the rosewater turmeric topical mask. Because, come on, I'm interested in that. I'm a person, right? Everybody wants good skin.
Yes, you need to be pretty. I mean, you're already very pretty, Greg, but yes, we can make you more prettier.
I'd be a little bit concerned about discoloration to my skin. Any fear there?
No, absolutely not. If you buy a good product, see, turmeric is water soluble, except if you get turmeric on your clothes, then it will not come off.
Right.
But if you put turmeric on your face, you have to mix it. First of all, don't go to work after you put turmeric on your face. You're going to look like Homer Simpson. So you don't do that.
Okay.
So what you do is you plan this for a weekend. Yeah. And typically, and we'll give some recipes out too, you can get some powder, especially chickpea. You can get chickpea powder. Get some chickpea powder and mix some turmeric in the chickpea powder. Put some rose water in there, and then make it into a paste, which is not too liquid, not too thick, just enough to go on your skin. and you let it sit on your face for about 1 hour or 2 hours. After 2 hours, your face will get stiff as the chickpea powder dries. It's going to come off like mini plaques and flakes. And you will see, Greg, the skin that comes at the bottom of the mask is smooth. Now, after you've done that, now you wash your face with lukewarm water, and use a towel which is not white, maybe something which is darker, and wipe it off. And yes, there could be some staining to the skin as well, but most of the times it will be okay. If you're worried for the staining, perhaps you may want to put that on your arm first and see how long the staining lasts. See, for people like myself, because my skin is tan and I'm more like latte colored. It doesn't show. But for somebody who's Caucasian and has a lighter skin, they may be more prominent. So perhaps before you even go out there getting all yellow on your face, I want to try that on your forearm skin and see how it goes for you.
I think a good idea might be, since this is our first podcast and we're creating a brand new YouTube channel, I think one of the things that we could do, if you're open and amenable to this, is we can create a segregate playlist that has to do with the creation of these potions and powders, whether they're taken internally or whether they're applied topically or transdermally. I think that would go great lengths to helping a person really learn how to utilize these spices in a way that benefits you and can help you to achieve the goals that you want. And we certainly, I think it would be exciting to do, and I think it would resonate with people.
Absolutely. What I suggest is, Greg, maybe you and I will take a trip to India sometime this fall.
I'm so down. Down to do that.
We'll go to the spice bazaar. So we have markets. We have acres and acres of turmeric hills. We got ginger powder hills. So you can see spices in action. So we'll do that. I think that'd be a good idea for our viewers and listeners to get a perspective of how big spices are overseas. But coming back to the show, I think there's so many recipes and solutions for health and wellness which we can borrow from the East. I am absolutely open to bringing those to our consumers, our listeners here in America and anywhere in the world who could be listening to us, and help them lead a healthy and happy life. The issue is the modern life is so busy, so stressful that you don't have time to take care of yourself. You just don't. It's just sad. It's so easy to grab a piece of donut than something healthy like those oranges you have in your office. I mean, it's beautiful. At least you make good choices. You have oranges in your office. You can grab the snack. So it's so eating healthy has been made very difficult for us.
Yeah.
Just by the diet and everything else. So I think together as we work on this, let's work on education. Let's work on partnering up with our listeners who are our friends, like they're like a family, extended family, and walk with them through their life and help them make healthy choices every day. And adding spices to their life will not only add spice to their life, literally and figuratively, but also will be good for the health as well. And India and other countries in the world have so much to offer. And I think we could be the channels to bring that to our friends and families and our listeners and help them lead a very healthy and happy life. I'm very open to that. I love to cook anyways, so I'll bring this to the world.
That'll be awesome. I mean, look, I like a couple of things, and one of them is eating, especially when it's great, delicious food that can also be healthy at the same time. Raj, I have a question about food choices. What are your thoughts on fermented foods and fermented drinks as they relate to health? And if they are beneficial, why would you purport or why would you surmise that fermented foods could be beneficial for human consumption?
That's a very good question. With the word probiotic catching traction like wildfire all over the earth, fermented foods are the talk of the town. Most of the fermented foods are also called functional foods, means foods that have a function, and the function being it makes you healthy. Every time you eat fermented foods, they carry bacteria. They carry live active flora which are like mini boxers. They're like always in action, they're always sparring. They go inside your gut and they change the ecosystem in the gut. Remember, I told you it's all about whole person, whole flora, whole everything. It's about 360 degrees. So when they go into your gut, in the GI system, they start changing your flora to healthy 360-degree ecosystem. When they do that, they induce the secretion of more healthy chemicals and more cytokines and other cells. Cytokines and other types of neurotransmitters and neurochemicals, which will affect the motility or the movement of the gut, but also affect the lining of the gut. And that lining already has bacteria. They already have the gut microbiome sitting there. So now, when you have a healthy ecosystem, you have a very healthy garden. And if you have a healthy garden with healthy soil, now more flowers, more pretty flowers will grow and the weeds will go away. So as these fermented foods bring in this healthy bacteria, they will change the pH of your gut. And now you have this new, healthy, fresh, friendly bacteria. These bacteria will secrete more chemicals, which will induce the growth of more good bacteria. Just think of this way. Just like the old saying by William Wordsworth, the famous English poet, birds of feather flock together. That's it. You get good bacteria. They're going to change the neighborhood and bring more good guys in. So it just changes the whole neighborhood. Now, these bacteria will secrete certain chemicals, and these are called short-chain fatty acids, such as butyric acid, and another propionic. It's called propionic acid. The butyric acid and propionic acid, these will work together, and they will give you very healthy flora of the gut as well and affect the motility. So gas, bloating, indigestion, just this icky feeling, all those things will get better. Now, the gut flora has a big role. I mean, gut flora does help in the formation of vitamin D, in the formation of folic acid, and they also have a role in B12 metabolism. Now you have this flora which is there, and it's creating more healthy vitamins and nutritional elements which your body will need. So now your entire GI system changes. I personally have patients who have tried fermented foods such as kefir and buttermilk, and they have felt difference in the health. As a matter of fact, I have a patient whose heartburn went away. She started drinking kefir, also known as kefir. She started drinking that. Her heartburn went away. It had a soothing effect on the gut. Now, when it comes to fermented foods, again, I got to be careful too, right? Being an MD, I cannot strongly recommend and say, hey, this fermented food will heal that. I cannot make those claims because otherwise the FDA will get mad at me. And again, it's not fair to the patient to make a claim. But all I can say is that all these fermented foods, they do promote digestive health and good gut health. And I have patients who do benefit, from gas and bloating when they consume these probiotic foods or fermented foods or functional foods. One thing I would like to point out is kombucha tea. Just my experience, kombucha tea is too gassy and too acidic. So if you have heartburn or reflux, it may make it worse. So that's one drink I am not a big fan of personally. I like kefir or kefir. I love kefir. I drank a whole bottle the day before yesterday. I was out there making some healthy mango kefir smoothies, which are yumlicious, by the way. You gotta try those next time. But with a fresh mango, tropical mango, with some kefir, and you put some almond powder and maybe some flaxseed powder, you not only have a superfood, you also have very good bowel movements, and the GI system is flat. Your gut gets really flat, and gas and bloating goes away. So that's my rant about fermented foods. And another benefit of fermented foods is are functional foods. Let me just say functional foods, Bragg. Functional foods are those foods which are bioactive, right? I mean, if you eat a donut, you know what that does to you. It just gives you
mold.
Diabetes. Exactly. And it's like a hole. Literally, it's a hole. You're eating empty calories, which not only will give you cavities, also gonna cause you to have this sugar depression. It's just not good for you. I wish I could personally replace every donut with the probiotic or with a healthy drink, or maybe juice, maybe edible juice. We can just eat the juice, But on the other hand, all the empty calories in donuts, they're not good for you. But when you come to functional foods, these are foods that have a function. Means you take the ingredients, and every ingredient does something good for you. Let's take, for example, fiber. It is a proven fact that fiber decreases the risk of cancer. It is a proven fact. High fiber diet is good for you. It drops your cholesterol. It binds the extra fat. It binds the extra toxin in your gut, and they leave your body, and they exit through the colon. So that's a functional food. Now let's talk about probiotics. They're functional foods. They're going to go in there. They're live. They're like Rocky Balboa. They're going in there punching the bad guys, and they're making you healthy. They're changing the ecosystem of your gut. So that's a functional food. The food that's doing something active for you. And then all the active cultures, all the bacteria that come in your functional foods or fermented foods, these bacteria will typically stay in your gut for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then they leave your body because they are transient flora. You were not born with it. See, everybody has a core microbiome. You, me, everybody, just like a fingerprint, we have a gut microbiome fingerprint. Everybody's different. The probiotics, when they come in, they're transient. They try to bring in more harmony, more peace to your gut, and then they leave. So you have to consume it for a long time, which means you have to stick with healthy habits and continue your healthy habits to stay healthy. Again, this brings back to my argument that all of us are like machines and cars.
Yeah.
For the car to go smoothly, you got to keep the engine going. You got to make sure the radiator fluid is good. You got to make sure you get your service done. Make sure everything is good. Make sure you're not, you're not hurting your car engine by doing something crazy. Similarly, your body is no different than a machine. You have to respect this machine. You have to listen to the machine. See what it's telling you. When you have aches and pains and gas and bloating and discomfort or depression, your body's talking to you. When a car breaks down or something wrong with the car, we pay attention to it. And we take better care of our cars than we do of our health. Let me just put it that way. It's just basic human nature. People avoid going to the doctor. Most people are so scared. Oh my God, my patients are like, no, I'm so scared to go to the doctor. And my question is, why are you scared to go to the doctor? Again, this is just a fear because maybe they don't want to be diagnosed with something. I guess maybe they don't want to feel, they don't want to be labeled with the disease, and they just don't want to know what's wrong. So this is where I always say, prevention is better than cure. You have to be smart about your health, because health is wealth. Because if you don't have your health, there's nothing left. Nothing left. So you got to pay attention to your body. You respect your body, and give your tissue the respect it deserves. Gives your body the respect it deserves. Give your gut flora the respect it deserves by feeding them the good foods, the healthy foods, the superfoods, and let those superfoods design some new molecules for you. Let the superfoods remake you. Because every time you eat something, you become that. Right. So you are what you eat, right? And you eat what you are.
Right.
So I'm going to say this again. You are what you eat. Whatever you eat will become a part of you. So you better put the good ingredients in your body so you can have the good structure, good scaffolding that's making the building of your body. At the same time, you eat what you are. If you're healthy, you will crave healthy stuff. If you're unhealthy, you will crave unhealthy stuff.
Sure.
It's almost like your body tells you what it wants. So you have to tune into your body and listen to your body and give it what it wants. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Let me ask you something, Raj, specific to that point that we were talking about. It's, first of all, we're in an integrative medicine facility here, which means we are the fusion of where complementary and alternative medicine and rational traditional medicine overlap in that Venn diagram. So to that end, if I get hit by a car, God forbid, please call an ambulance, don't call a shaman, I want to get rational, sound medical care. And then upon achieving stability, seek those ways and means to, accelerate my healing utilizing holistic and natural principles to reestablish balance and harmony in the body. One of the things that I get a lot from patients is some patients have a knee-jerk kind of default hatred of things like antibiotics, because antibiotics can destroy the microbiome. And then, when the discussion ensues, well, sometimes in the presence of a proper clinical indication and you need those antibiotics, it's important that you allow yourself to get proper medical management. Secondary to that, once you know those antibiotics have done their job, many of them being broad spectrum antibiotics are kind of like equal opportunity killers. They just reap a swath of destruction across the landscape, killing not only the bad guys, but also taking out some good guys in friendly fire. So do you think that supplementation secondary to antibiotic exposure when necessary, utilizing oral antibiotic strategies and fermented foods is a good strategy to kind of recolonize the flora? Well, what are your thoughts on that?
This is music to my ears. This is exactly what I preach all day. I always encourage that whenever we can avoid antibiotics, let's avoid them. Mm-hmm. A lot of things do not need antibiotics. But I know that you need antibiotics for a lot of things. They have their benefit. I mean, that's the reality of life. So whenever you need antibiotics, yes, I recommend you take antibiotics and do not say no, because that's the right thing to do. See, at every moment of time, because this is also real time, this is real life, nothing is perfect and absolute. So at that moment, you got to make the right decision. If at that moment you need antibiotics, you take antibiotics, otherwise you're going to be hurt by the bacteria or the fungus or the virus that's attacking your body. Now, after you have done the antibiotic to kill that acute invader into your body, now you bring in more forces, more support system to see, okay, do you need more support to kill the bacteria or the virus? Or also, do you need more support to undo the collateral damage which happens, to your biochemistry and to your microbiome? So every time we use the broad spectrum antibiotics, they do have collateral damage, and the biggest one being antibiotic-induced diarrhea.
Sure.
You give antibiotics, and boom, they start wiping out the flora, and now all the commensal flora comes in, and they start, they cause malabsorption. They can cause diarrhea, cramping, things like that. In that scenario, I'm a big proposer and a promoter of probiotics. A lot of my patients, they get supplementation with lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. I use powders and pills to make sure to take them for as long as they take the antibiotics. Yes, antibiotics will kill them as well, but they also, if they survive, they will give benefit as well. I do recommend that even during antibiotic therapy, I put my patients on probiotics to protect them against injury from antibiotic to the gut microbiome. It helps them.
I have an expansion on that question, Raj. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have had patients say, well, I've never taken an antibiotic in my life. Why would I need probiotics? To which I have said to them, have you ever eaten chicken out of the grocery store? Because if you have, it's got growth hormone, additives, chemicals, including antibiotics, because factory farming has a necessary utilization of antibiotics to feed this massive, almost 350 million people population across the United States. And often, these chemicals are not denatured sufficiently to be non-effective in the body. And so sometimes antibiotics in the food supply can actually also destroy your microbiome. And from our complementary alternative standpoint, we have utilized that as justification and rationale to recommend a good, well-rounded, broad-spectrum probiotic. Could you speak to that at all?
I do agree with you. Our food is not fully organic. It's tough to find really healthy food. And yes, if you have the food which we're ingesting, if you have the food, either toxified or treated with some type of not always antibiotic, but other chemicals too.
Right.
Could be steroids, could be smoked foods, you may drink alcohol with that food, which is alcohol, tobacco, whatever enters your body, you got to pay attention to what's in it. That itself will and can cause gut dysbiosis or imbalance of the flora, which can lead to a lot of diseases like gas and bloating and obesity. And there's a new condition I'm seeing quite a bit. It's called the small bowel bacterial overgrowth syndrome, where you have the bad bacteria that grow in your gut. It's called small bowel bacterial overgrowth syndrome. Very common in people with diabetes or who have had some surgeries on the gut. Or as you get older, the flora changes, the motility of the gut also changes. And that's why as you get older, you're more GI and gut distress and bloating and just, my gut kind of a feeling because of the imbalance of dysbiosis. So yes, I do agree with you that antibiotics and other chemicals and culprits and insults, that's a better word, insults, could come from anywhere. And your GI system, sadly, takes a brunt, right? Because your GI is your first line of defense of things entering your body. If the GI system does not act like the tough guy, all the toxins will enter your body. But your GI system has to be strong. And so that's why all these toxins enter your body, they do take a toll on the gut. Coming back to the probiotics question.
Yes.
So when you take the probiotics in an acute scenario, like you have an infection, you have upper respiratory infection, you got most common is UTI. UTI is the most common one, especially amongst female, and vaginosis. I mean, bacterial vaginosis affects so many females, and there's imbalance of the flora. I mean, they have fishy odor from the vagina, and it's a very emotional issue. I mean, that can affect sex life. That can affect your outlook on life. So that goes down to very, very personal and emotional level that the gut flora. Flora. Because I'm gonna talk about flora after this. I'm gonna finish my thought first. That when we adjust the flora of the gut with probiotics, it does make a big difference. It does make a big difference, especially when you take antibiotics. There's dysbiosis. There is change in the flora. So we must try our best to replenish it. Again, nothing will replace your fingerprints. Nothing will replace your microbiome that God gave to you or which you got from your mother's genital tract, right? When you're born, the flora you get is the flora which your mom has in her vaginal tract. You come out, and that's what you get. This is how and why families have similar microbiome, because this is how you get it. If you live with somebody long enough, you're gonna have the same bacteria, the same flora. When you come from your mom's womb out into the world, you are given your flora by your mom's tract, and then you interact with people. You go to your ecosystem, your environment, that shapes your flora per se. So when that flora, is attacked by antibiotics or other stressors or alcohol and tobacco, it takes time to get back to normal. So a lot of people will have distress for a few weeks after antibiotic course. No matter how much probiotics you give them, it will not replenish the original flora quickly. It'll take a few weeks, and that's why we call it post. Especially if you had infection of the gut as well. There's a condition it's called post-infectious IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It's almost like a stressor. It's almost like a post-traumatic stress disorder affecting the GI system, because it's like a shocker. Suddenly, the GI system gets shocked by the infection that causes the gut muscle to panic, and they just start quivering. And that quiver gives you this diarrhea and the pain and bloating even after an infection which had lasted. Similar scenario with antibiotics. When antibiotics have messed up your flora for some while, you will have symptoms for some while. And this is where I would like to throw in something else, which I've tried in the past. Cultured yogurt. So in Indian cultures, when people get antibiotics, they recommend you drink more yogurt, or you take more cultured foods with the antibiotics. Because that gives you not only the flora, but remember, they're functional foods. They balance the pH of your gut. The gut function based on the pH. As you go from stomach to the small bowel and the colon, the pH becomes more alkaline type. So when you balance the pH, there's a higher chance of you fixing the ecosystem and having it go back to the previous form as it was before the insult with the antibiotics or the infections. So that's gut flora.
And that's all the time we have, folks. I want to thank Dr. Raj Sharma for his valuable time and contribution to the inaugural podcast of Dr. 2.0, bringing you the best experts in the fields of primal health and advanced medicine. To learn more about the fusion of complementary alternative medicine and conventional medicine, check out the rest of our podcasts, our YouTube channel, social media, and website. Please remember to subscribe and like. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.